Yeah. So in the previous session, we have discussed about the variables, isn't it? The variables and objects, collections, single value objects and multi-valued objects. In these objects, again, we have single value objects and multi-valued objects. So this multi-value objects, we are calling it as what? Calling them as what? Collections, isn't it? The multi-valued objects, we are calling them as collections. So how to create a collection that we have seen. Today I will try to show you how to access the elements of this these collections, and how do we declare the various types of collections, what is immutable and what is mutable and immutable collection. So all this concept we shall try to discuss in this session. Okay. Now, so today's session I'm not going with IntelliJ ID, I'm going with some interactive this application. Let me show you that. So I can use that even that interactive in the this ID itself. So this is a project that yesterday we have created, Hartik Scala. Just let me open the project. Just let me minimize this. Yes, it is done. So this is the program that we have written yesterday. Some sample. Here we have created some variables with multiple single values and multiple value, demo 1, demo 2. All these variables with single value objects. This integer, long, short, float, all these called as single value objects, and these collections are called as multi-valued objects. Okay. Now in this IDE itself, we can open an interactive application. So that is a Scala in interactive mode. We can open it. This is called as a batch program actually. Writing the entire program once, compiling it and running it. That would be called as a batch program. But we can also launch an interactive Scala environment. That can be done very simply, very simple. Just in the very right left bottom here, when you have some symbol like this. Okay, you can see some symbol like this, something like a film here. So just if you place your cursor there, you'll get all these options here. Okay, just go to terminal here, click on the terminal, and just extend this and type here simply Scala. Just simply type Scala here. So we are going to see the Scala interactive application here. Welcome to Scala 2.11, and this is Scala interactive mode. Okay, fine. Now here, let me try to create the collections here. We shall try to understand what is done actually in this session. Mainly, immutable object, immutable collection, that is immutable object versus mutable object. In the last session, we have discussed about mutable reference versus immutable reference. So in this session, we shall try to understand what is immutable object versus immutable object. Okay, let's try to understand that. So before that, let me make some points clear about this what you call as objects, that is collections. Well, a1 colon array of int equal to array of 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, this is going to create an array object. What is this statement is going to create? This is going to create an array object, and in that it is going to store integer values, integer objects. 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 7 integer objects are going to be created, wrapped as, are going to be, we call it as wrap. I'm using the word is called as wrap. Wrapping of array, wrapping of integer objects as an array object. That is called as a wrapping. Wrapping is something like putting everything into what you call as what I say, into something like a cover, something like packaging. We can call it some wrapping. Wrapping, I think you know about what a wrap is. Okay, so wrapping 7 integer objects as a single object. That as an array. Okay, this is called as array now here. Now, and what is this here? What is this here? array of int. Now you have to tell me what is this. Yeah, I'm saying that this statement array of 2 3 4 5 7 8 is going to create an object. This is creating an object. Then what is this now? What is a1 here? Yeah, please try to answer, anyone. What is a1? What is a1? Is it a variable or is it an object? What is it? Yeah, please unmute yourself and try to answer, or you can answer in directly in the chat. But please try to respond. Yes, it is a reference. Yeah, it is a reference or it is a variable. Okay. Now val, what type of reference it is? Whatever, is it mutable or immutable? So val, the keyword val is going to create what type of reference, mutable or immutable? So it will get immutable reference. Yes, good, very good. So a1 is created as an immutable reference to what object? To array object that is created in memory, which is holding internally again 7 integer objects. That's fine. And what is this? Is this is the class? This is the class to which the object created here belongs to. Let me repeat the statement. This is the class. This is the class to which the object created with this statement belongs to. So when we say an object must belong to a class, isn't it? An object is a reference, is an instance of a class. So here object is getting created. To which class, from which class we are derived, that object is getting created. What is the class? This is the class. Okay, array of int. Remember that. I will say like this: val. If I say some val p colon int equal to some 40. So what's happening with this? This 40 is going to be created as an this statement. This is going to create an integer object in memory, and 40 will be held by that object. And to which class that object belongs to? That belongs to the class int. Remember. So array of int. These are the what we call as classes, predefined classes. So p is a reference, is an immutable reference, and integer is the class to which this integer object belongs to. Clear? So val some q colon string equal to some Scala programming. So this is going to create this statement. This one is going to create a string object. To which class it belongs to? This is the class string. Okay, but this is purely optional, mentioning, specifying this class to which the variable belongs to, or the reference references this q is referring to. Is specifying this is purely optional. This is purely optional. I can simply val some yes equal to, I can simply write spark, something like this. So this is specifying colon string, that is specifying the a class to which the object getting created belongs to. The specification of this is purely optional. We can use it or we can simply omit it. Okay, but it is a good practice to specify that class to which this variable belongs to. Okay, it is a good practice to use that. But even though if you don't mention that, there's no problem. It is going to accept it. Got my point here? Right. Now this is a1 is the object that we have created here. This is going to create an array object. Now let us see how we are able to access the data of this array. So a1 is the array here. a1. Okay, just let me clear this screen. Fine. a1, this is the data of a1. Now I would like to access the last element in this array. So how do I know the number of elements in this array object now? That is simply by a1 dot size. This is going to give the number of elements, the number of integer elements or objects that are there in this array. So totally 7 elements. Dot size, a1 dot size. Okay, and how to access element, a particular element from this array. I want to access the let us say the last element from this. I want to get the last element from this. How shall I access it? Okay, so every element in this array will be accessed by its index, will be accessed by the index. So what is the index of the index of the array? The indices of the array element starts with 0. So the index of the first element will be 0, index of second element will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me show you that. A1 of 0, so it is going to get the first element a1 of 0. So the index of the first element, first position element is 0, and a1 of 5, if I say 5, what is going, output is going to give us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 7 has to be the output here, a1 of 5. So if you how do we know the number of elements in that array? Array object dot size, the function used to know. Now what is the size here? Can you tell me what is the size? What is the size? Is it a variable? What is it? What is it? Yeah, you have to tell me what is it.
Method.
A1 is a reference.
Method.
Yeah, a1 is do not call this as a method, call it as a function. Okay, it is giving the total number of elements, that's fine. Okay, but what is the size? We did not create or anything, we did not create this size, right? Directly we are using it. So a1 is an function, or do not call it as a method, call it as a function. I will tell you when to call something as a function, when to call as a method, but presently try to call this as a function. Okay, size is a function which gives the number of elements that are holding by that array object, to which this a1 was referring to. So as we I know, this is going to create object, but we cannot access directly that object, but instead we are using a reference for it. So we are using a reference. With the help of that reference, we perform all the operations on the object. So even though we are using a1 here, the operation is getting performed on the object to which a1 is referring to. Okay, remember that point. Okay, now? So we can access number of elements by using size, and we can access every element, the element at a particular position, by using the index. Is it clear? Any questions on this? Any questions, guys? Fine. Now I would like to change. I would like to change the element at a particular position. The element at a particular position. Let's say I would like to change the element at the position. This position. I would like to replace the 6 with 16. I would like to replace the 6 with 16. Is it possible? How will do that? Very simple. A1 dot update of 6 comma 16. A1 dot update of 6 comma 60. Sorry, not 6, actually 5. It must be 5, I think. What is the index of the 6? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So the index has to be 4. Sorry. So if it is 6, what would be the index of the last? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8 will be replaced by the 16 now. Actually it must be 5, but this 8, I have mentioned the index as 6 here. So this 6, not the value here, this whatever the value is applied here, this will be the index. Now let us print a. Now what do we have next option now here? Previously a1 data is 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and now the a1 data got changed to 60. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 60. So this is the index. Okay, this is the index, and what has to be the value to be changed? The 60. So the value at the index 6 will be changed to 60 now. Okay, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8 is the element at position 6. There is the index 6. So we are changing that index 6 element 8 with 60. This is how. So getting all elements of the array, and knowing the number of elements of array, and accessing a particular element of the array, and updating an element of an array. These three operations we have seen. Okay, size, and accessing a particular element by using the index, and updating a value at that position. Got it now? Is clear about this array? Okay, so how shall we access, how shall we do, how shall we perform? No, this you have to understand here, right? This is about the array. Next, do you have any questions in this about this array? Yeah, guys. If no questions, I will proceed with a list of some 23, 34, 45, 56, 67. Let me take some one more element, 78. Now so similarly, like array, how shall we know the number of elements in this array? Very simple. L1 dot size, L1 dot size, it is going to give the number of elements 1 2 3 4 5 6. Similarly, like array, and it behaves as, the accessing and doing of data, accessing the data elements will be same as that of array only. So I would like to access the data from a particular position, the particular element. So even the index of a list also starts with 0, 1 0 1 2 3 4 5. Total 6 elements are there. So the index is going to start with 0 and it is going to end with 5. So I can access L1 of some 4. It is going to get the element at the 5th position, that is 67. Okay. Next, how shall I update the data? Here we use function called as updated. So here we have only 5 elements. Let me change the element at position 0, 0 dot 0 comma, let me say some, instead of 23, let me call that 200. So that position value is going to be replaced with 200. Got it? The first element 200, everything will be same. So like array, we are using size, we are accessing the element at a particular position, and we are trying to update the value based on the index. Got it? This is about list, array, and the others array, and this is list. Got it? Clear, guys? Is it clear to you now? Fine. Let me show you one more collection here, that is called as a map. Now I'm trying to show you the collections that are used most frequently in our programming. Okay, remember that. So next I go with map. Well, m1 equal to, so just now I have created L1, right? Val L1, this is what we have created, this is. So if I want to specify to which class, to which class object this L1 is referring to, how shall I create it? If I want to explicitly specify it, I can use this list of int. Remember that, because this is how we have to specify. Okay, but I'm recommending you to go with this type of convention. Always use this type of way, because you will feel comfort. Even we can trace at some points. If you want to trace the code, if you want to understand, debug the code, this is going to be helpful to us. This is going to be helpful to us. Okay, so try to use this convention. Next, val, or I can use var also. Every time need not to use val, always var m1 equal to map of. This is very important, very important, this map collection. This we use frequently in Spark programming. We use very frequently in Spark programming. Array and map. Array will be used, list will not be used mostly, but array and map will be used in most of the times, in most of the Spark programming. Okay, so we have to understand clearly about array and map, very clearly. And we have one more that we are going to discuss now, that's called a tuple, that we will discuss about it. But map, so this map is going to, in this map, every element will be a pair. I will repeat statement, every element in this map is going to be a pair. Before that, let me just get a list. This is a list. Now I write where m1 equal to map of the first element. Write the first element. So let us say city or name, comma, name is Scala. This is the first element. This is the first element. Okay. Second element, version comma 2.11 comma third element. I think this should not be like this. It must be like this actually. 2.11 and the third element, version and we call as type of language, it is oops plus functional programming. I think this is done. Yeah. What mean by hybrid? Yeah, hybrid. Just I'm writing some, I'm entering some, some random data. Okay, just not what. The Scala is hybrid language. Okay, well, it has inherited, it has the features of, it has been inherited from what you call as Java and Lisp language. Okay, that is what. This is another way. There is another way of what. So before just we going to the another way of creating map, how shall I access the elements of the map here? Okay, remember here. So how many elements this map has now? Let me check whether we have size for this map. I'm not sure. Yes, we have a size. So m1 dot size, to know the number of elements. How many elements we have here? This is the first element. This is the second element, and this is the third element. Okay. So in list, we'll have the elements like this. You know, something like this. But map is going to have an element as an ordered, as a pair, as a pair. Okay. What's a pair? Pair nothing but combination of two fields or two values. Okay, so the first element, the first field is string and second field also string. Here also the first field is string, second field is string. They must be same. The field types must be same. So totally we have three elements. How shall I access the first element? How do I access the first element? Can I use something like this, m1 of 0? Do we get something like this? No, we won't get it. So this is not, yes, I know if you place something in double quotes, that is going to become a string. That is going to become a string. I will show you what is the problem with that. Let me just to show you. But I will try to. I'm going to discuss more about this mapping. Now map. So m1 of name. So we do not access these elements directly. Instead, what we do is, so in these two elements, the first element will be considered as the key, and second element will be considered as the value. Remember, key and value. In the second element also, the first field will be considered as key, and this is going to the value. This type will be the key, and oops plus fa will be the value. So we have to provide the key, we have, then we get the value out of it. So m1 of name, sorry, it must be in double quotes. We get Scala here. Let me just clean this and let me write again. Now m1 of the first element key, that is the name, we get Scala. Similarly, m1 of version, what do we get? 2.11. And m1 of the last key type. So for a map collection, what is the input we have to supply? The input we have to supply is a key of an element. So it is going to give the value of it. And if you supply the value, do we get the key? Let's try. Let us make it try. I supply Scala here. No, we won't get. Now you can say here, key not found. Such key is not found. That vice versa is not going to be true. Remember. So only we have to supply keys, not the values. If we supply the keys, we are going to get the values here. Clear, guys? Is it clear about this one? Fine. Now, for this M1, yes, like I used this external specification for list here, list colon int. I would like to use the same. I would like to specify explicitly for this map also. How do I do it? Just let me write this to first. This is the list. Now I would like to mention for this map also. How do I mention it? Colon, it belongs to class map, and in this you have to specify, I think we have to specify like this, string. The first key is string and the value is also string. Key is string and value is also string. So what is the type of key here? String. What's the type of value? String. Okay, can I supply the data like this? You can see this one, 2.11. Let me delete these double quotes. So what is going to happen with this? Is it going to accept? It doesn't accept. So why is not accepting? Can you tell me? Why? Because the value type is string. So for the first here we have the string, here we have the string. So all the keys and all the values must belong to same type. Now let me show you one more. Val m2 equal to map of 1 comma ABC or 1 comma Hyderabad, next 2 comma some Delhi, and 3 comma some Bangalore. Okay, now we can observe here what is the type of the key here. Integer. Depending upon it is going to infer the type automatically, and the second one is string. You want to specify explicitly the type, you can specify it something like this: map of int comma string. So here we cannot give something like this, you know, m to be like this. It is not going to work. Why? Because all the keys must belong to same type and all the values must belong to same type. Okay, remember that. So one key and value cannot, key and value, all the keys must have same type and the values must have same type. That is only the concept. Remember that. Got it, guys? About this map. So we create a map like this, and we have one more convention of creating this map. Let me use that. So instead of this comma here, I can use this arrow mark. I can use this arrow mark. Even that can be done. Okay. So comma instead of comma, I can use arrow mark. Even this is going to work. This is one more another convention of creating map collection. This is going to work. Both are same. Both conventions are same. Either you can use that convention, you can use comma between key and value, or you can use that arrow mark. Okay, directional operator between the key and the value. Clear? And how do we access the elements of the map? We access the values by supplying the keys. That is what you have to understand about the key. Got it, guys? Any questions in this about list, array, and array, list, and map? We have seen these three. Yeah, here also we see the size number of elements in this map by simply supplying dot size. Size is the function to get the number of elements of that collection. Okay. Next, I will show you something. Val t1. Can we use arrow mark with string comma? Yes, anywhere. Not only just integer and integer. We can use anywhere. Sorry. Here we have strings, right? We can use instead of comma, we can use arrow mark. Here also, wherever you want, we can use. Need not be the type, need not be always int. Wherever if you want. Sorry, it is 2.11, must be a string here. Fine, we can use it. Clear, guys? I think it is Anurag, right? The question has Anurag. Is clear, Anurag? I think you have asked this question, isn't it? Yeah, Hina. Yeah, is it clear, Hina? Now you can use between any type. Need not be an integer and string. It can be any type, and even the key can be string, and value can be integer. Let me show you that. Even let me show you that also. Now instead of this, I use type 3, type 2, type 1. Is it correct? Is this statement is going to be correct or wrong? Yeah. See the entire statement starting from where till the end and tell me where is the error. Type is string only, right? Type, this is missing here. The type of variable is not string, it is integer. Got it? So if we supply string, it is not going to work. It won't work. Type mismatch. It says type mismatch. Okay. We supply instead of string, the key has to be integer. This will work. Got it? So when we look at a particular statement, we must be in a position to analyze that, trace the error that is there in that particular statement. So that would be the quality of a good programmer. Remember, just if we look at a statement, just we must be able to understand what is the problem with it and where the error is. That is the quality of one of the qualities of a good programmer. next guys. So I'm going to show next about the tuple. While t1 equal to uh 34, 45, 56, 78. So what is this t1 called as here? So what is this is going to be created here? Where suppose if I use some a4 equal to array, what is going to be created? This is array object is going to create array, isn't it? So what is this is going to create? This is called as a tuple, not type. This is called as a tuple. Tuple. Some people call it tuple also. Tuple. This I pronounce it as tuple. Okay, it's your wish to call it as a tuple or tuple. That's up to you. But yeah, tuple. 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 Okay, 34, 5, 56, and 78. Now I can use one more convention. Instead of this, I can also pass it as tuple 4. Even this can be used. Got it? And I can use the class as, I think is going to work or not, I'm not sure. No, it is not going to work. Tuple 4, I think int comma int comma int comma int. Yes, this works. Okay, and this is how we have to specify. This is called as a tuple. Got it guys? Just observe difference here. 78 and 45 are 100. This won't work. Why? Because here we have specified tuple 4. That means to accept only 4 elements. But here we specified 5 elements. So this is not going to be accepted. Remember, this is not going to be accepted. So in order to get, if you are trying to have 5 elements, specify 5, and here also we have to include 5 elements. And this is how it is going to work. Got it? Now if I change something here, I'm change this one to, even it is not going to work. What is it? Why? Because the type mismatch. So here the fourth element has, I'm just saying that this is the class I'm telling you, declaring here. So according to this we have to provide the data. So string. So the fourth element has to be a string. If we want to make it as a string, simply put that thing in double quotes. It is going to work now. Got it now? Tuple 4, tuple 5, tuple 3, tuple 2, tuple 1. See this one. Now I say tuple 6, and correspondingly I use here a. So can you tell me what is the change I have to do in this? What is the first element in tuple 6 here? What is the type of the first element? Is it a string? Is it an integer? What is it? Is it char, isn't it? So the first one has to be char here. Char int. This is going to work. So this is how we manage the data in a tuple. Got it guys? Fine. Tuple 1. Now how shall I access, how do I know the number of elements? See that. Is it possible to get the size of it? No, it is not going to get the size of it. Why? Because this tuple is not a collection basically. Tuple is not a collection, remember. It is not a collection. Even though it seems to be a collection, it is not a collection. Remember that point. Then what else it is? It is simply combination of elements. I'm telling you there is a difference between collection and combination. I'm saying difference. Collection and combination, there's a difference between these two. Tuple is going to combine the elements, combine the data, but collection is going to bring all the set of elements. You can understand the word, the difference between the words collection and combination. The difference is there. Okay, so tuple is going to combine and collection is going to have some set of elements. Okay, so what elements you are trying to combine, you have to specify all this here. That is, we can perform iterative operations on collections, iterative operations, but we cannot perform iterative operations on the tuples. When we go with what you call as loops, when we try to discuss the concept of loops, then we shall try to understand that this is the exact difference between a collection and a combination. The difference between a collection and a tuple. Tuple is not a collection. There we understand about it. Okay, fine. Now here I would like to access the data of this T1. How shall I access the first element of this tuple, second element of this tuple, third element of this tuple? What shall I use? In case of array, what did we use there? Mm, yeah, index, there we have used index, right? So in this index a4, I use a4 of 3. It is going to give the last element, fourth position element, isn't it? Similarly, t1 of 4 is not going to work here. Remember, is not going to work. Instead we have to use like this. How is t1 and dot underscore let me say 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah, their type is optional. Yeah, yes, we can even we can ignore in tuple also. We can ignore, we can ignore depending upon the data that we're passing. Automatically the type will be inferred. I told you this is optional. This is optional, but it is better to have it. I recommend to use it. Even though it is optional, I recommend to use it. Why? Because I told you, in debugging the code or in testing the code, this will be more and more helpful. Okay, I recommend to use it. Even though it is optional, I recommend to use it. Okay, fine. Now, how shall I access the first element or second element, third element in this tuple? The first position or second position element. This is very simple. T1 dot underscore. This tuple is we use in Spark programming very frequently. Remember, most frequently we use this tuple concept. We are accessing the data from a tuple. Okay? In Hive RPig, in which component we use the concept of a tuple? In pig, in pig, the component pig, what is the object name that we use to store the data? In Spark we use rdd data frame dataset, right? Okay, similarly in pig, what is that object called as, which will be used for maintain the bag? Yeah, it is called as a bag. Inner bag, outer bag, or the relation. Outer bag can also be called as a relation. So what is a bag? How to define a bag? A bag is a collection of what? A bag is a collection of what? What, Mantosh? A bag is a collection of what is a bag? Tuples. Yes, is it a bag is a collection of tuples. That is the same thing here. Okay. So even we use this tuple concept access representing the data as a tuple in Spark programming also very frequently. Okay, try to understand. Yeah, it's a collection of tuples. T1, sorry, dot underscore 4. So it is going to get the element at the fourth position. That is, this is first position A, second, third, and fourth. Okay, similarly underscore 1, it is going to get the first position element. Similarly the 1 2 3 4 5 6, it is going to get 6. We get the last position element 100. So how do we access the elements of a tuple? That is by using dot underscore the position of the element in it. We are going to access the data of a tuple. Is it clear, guys? So accessing the elements of array, list, tuple, and map. These are most frequently used collections. And tuple is not a collection, but map, array, and these are going to be mostly used collections, and this is a combination that is mostly used in the Spark program. That's why I'm stressing more on this. Is it clear, guys? Any questions in using this tuple, map, array, or list? Yeah, let me show you one thing again. Update will work in map or tuple, not in map. Yeah, let me show you. Let us see map. Map is there right already. Where is map? Update works on array, and update works on what you call as list also. We did not check on map and we did not check on tuple. Let us make it try. This is a map, right? Yes, fine. M1, M1 of, what is the name here? Name, what is the name, value of name here? Actually it is 1, right? SAS 723. Update is not a member of map or string. That is not going to work. We cannot update the data of it. Update of name. This is not going to work. Actually, it won't work. Actually, name, the value to be some 20. It won't work. Update is not a member of. Update is not a member of map. We cannot update the data in the map. This is not allowing to do it. Okay. M1 dot find update. See this. Do we have any update option here? Updated is there. Let us make it. Let us try it. Updated. How shall we use updated? Let us try. Yes, it is working. Let us try to do this. Map M1. This is the data, and I'm using M1 dot updated of name of 20. So previously, what was the value of name here? 1, isn't it? Name is the key, and its value is 1. Now it is saying as name equal to 20 version 2 and type 3. Similarly, if I use type equal to instead of 3, I use some 30 here. Got it, guys? Fine. Is it okay? So we can use updated on this. I don't think we can use on tuple. Let us try. I did not try on tuple. Let us try now. No problem. Let us try. T1 dot updated. No, we don't have updated here. We can't do that. So if we have a function, we can see this. These are all the operations that we can do on this what we call as tuple. Here we don't have any function called as updated here, so that can't be done. We can simply say like that. Let us try underscore 1 equal to some 45. No, it's not going to work actually. No, it won't work. This is not available in tuple, but we can do updation in what we call as map, list, and array also. Got it, guys? Fine. I think Ravitej asked this question, right? I think Ravitej or Anurag, I don't know. So someone asked a question, and I made this point clear. Anything you want to know about this array list? Just Ankur. Yeah. Fine. Now I will try to show you something. Well, a1 equal to array of 23, 45, 67, 78. So it is representing array of int. So how do you define array generally? How do you define an array? An array is a collection of what? Homogeneous data or heterogeneous data? An array is a collection of what? Homogeneous. What do you mean by homogeneous? What do you mean by homogeneous? Homogeneous data. Homogeneous data elements. And an array is a collection of defined as similar type. So what is the type of element that is getting stored in this array? Array object? Integer. Isn't it? 23, 40, 56, 78. But Scala supports to have different data types also. Different types of data also. Array supports to have the type of data to be different types of data also into an array. The same array, list, everything, everywhere. Okay, array or list also. And now I do here, I write a Scala, and I write here some B or some capital Z. So now, shall I call this array as homogeneous type of collection? No, right? It is accepting any type of data. 23, 45 are integers, Z is character, and Scala is string. So what is the type of this data now? It will be shown as any. Any in the sense any type. So here we have all the elements as integers. So the type is shown as integers. Array is a collection of integers, array of integers. Now here array is, this is not array of integers or strings or character, array of any type. Got it now? This is supported in Scala. Generally in C or C++ in Java language say that it's a collection of homogeneous type of data, homogeneous data. But that is not true. There is the restriction we don't have in Scala programming. We can have different type of heterogeneous type of data as an array. Got it, guys? Similarly for list. So for this we have to use array of any here. Okay, this is going to work. So let me use list for this. So whether the list also supports different types of data or not. Let me call this as L1. Even list supports it. Okay, list of any, array of any, or list of any. Okay, guys. So or now it works with homogeneous data as well as it works with heterogeneous data. What about tuple? Tuple works with, already we have seen it works with different data type already. Okay, so map we have seen already. Map the, but in map compulsory the key, all the type of all the keys must be same and the type of all the values must be same. We cannot change it there. That must be same. Okay, now val t2 equal to tuple 3 of 23 spark and true. What's the type of the third element here? It is boolean. The first element is integer, second belongs to string, and third belongs to boolean. So here we have 3, and shall I make it as 4 here? No, it won't support, remember. So if you are saying 4, compulsory we have to pass 4 values. If you are saying the tuple 3, we have to pass compulsory 3 values. If you say tuple of 5, we have to say 5 values. Okay, we have to provide 5 values. Likewise, now I am providing some elements as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So how many elements we have provided till now? Just count this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Sorry, I forgot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, total 23. So let me, in this case, let me take it as 23, double 23. So it doesn't work. Can't you use size? No, we cannot use size date and tuple. I told you tuple is not a collection. Tuple is not a collection. We cannot use size. Okay, base tuple is not a collection. I told you that is not a collection. It's simply a combination. So tuple support maximum of 22 elements only. I think it is not, sorry, 23 only, but we have 23 elements here. So it supports maximum of 22 elements only, remember. So it doesn't support 23 elements. Here we have total 23 elements. We have 23. We are trying to use 23, but there is no 23. The maximum number of elements we can have in a tuple are 22 only. Remember that. Got it? So the combination of elements, how many we can have? They are maximum 22 in a tuple. Remember this point. This point somewhere we have seen that's in interviews. So here remember, we have to remember all these points. Okay. Fine. Is it clear, guys, about array list and what is that one more called as map and tuple? And we have one more. This that is also mostly used in Spark programming. Let me show you that. Well, some S1 equal to SEQ of is a sequence 23, 45, 67, and 7.8. Now, can you tell me what would be the type of this S1? I say that S1 it is sequence, actually sequence of integer. So do you think it is going to be correct here? Sequence of integers. Is it going to be correct? No, it doesn't work. Why? Because 23, 45, 67 are integers, but 7.8 is a double value. It is a double. Okay, so we have to use double here. double is going to work with double. Okay, but I think it is a float also, right? 7.8, is it a float? It's a float also. But how shall I make it as float, not double? So use small f or capital F. It is going to be treated as float. Okay, what about map? Any restriction number of elements? No, there is no restriction number of elements. Then we can have any number of elements. Okay. If I want to make float, I can use float here. So it must be capital F. This works. Okay, this is about sequence. Now observe very carefully, something is happening here. We are using sequence, but see, can you see this now? What is getting created as we are using SEQ sequence, but we are getting created as what? List. No, even though we are using sequence, it is getting created as a list. What do you mean by what's happening with this? If you are using list, if you are using an array here, suppose if you use an array here, if I use an array, it is going to create array of any, some a1. It is going to create array, okay, array of float. But when I'm using array, it is going to create array. And if I use list here, it is going to create list. List, it is going to create a list. That's fine, everything is fine. List, array. But how come this sequence is showing list here? Yeah, guys, why? But this sequence is showing list. For sequence and list, it will be list. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Why? I'm asking why. Do you have any idea about it? Yeah. That we'll discuss when we get into actually, even though if we try to discuss here, the people who are new to this programming, they may not understand here. So that's why I will discuss about it, about this, where in the sense, have you heard about then abstract classes or interfaces in Java programming? About abstract classes and interfaces. Okay, here that depends. This will be this, yeah. Here this year we are going to discuss the same concept in Scala programming, like traits, traits, trait. So like interfaces we have in Java programming, I'm repeating the statement, like interfaces we have in Java programming, here we have something called a trait. We call it as a trait. Okay, so 1 second, let me show you that. S1 dot get class collection, actually collection immutable sequence of float. Just don't worry about this, just neglect this or just ignore this. So there we discuss, when you go with that abstract class and traits, there we discuss about all these things again. Just remember that each sequence is going to create a list here, just for now. Yeah, so sequence, list, array, map, tuple, these are most frequently used the collections. Tuple is not a collection, just exclude that one, remaining with that we are going to use the most frequently in this Spark program. That's why I made you to I exposed all this to you. Okay, fine. Now this is the practical part regarding these collections, and now I will try to show you something. Just observe very clearly. Observe very clearly. Unless if you observe clearly, you won't understand it. And after you observe, you have to give me the answer. What's happening there? Okay, this is val a1 equal to array of 23, 45, 67, 89. Val L1 equal to list of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You have to tell me the answer. Observe carefully. So I'm using operation here, a1 dot update of 1 comma 200. Next L1 dot update dated of 2 comma some 400. Okay, L1 dot updated of 2 comma 400. Now I'm trying to print the value of the array and list. A1, what is the date of A1 now? So previously, what is the date of A1? 23, 45, 67, 89. And with this, what we are expecting here, the element, the index, the element at the index 1 must be updated to what? 200. That is the element in the index 1 is nothing but 45. 45 must be updated with what? 200. So A1, we got it. So instead of 45 we have 200. Now with this we are expecting here L1 dot update of the element at index 2. There's nothing but 0, 1, 2. There's 30. 30 must get updated with what? 400. Now let us print L1. Did we get that change here? Is 30 got changed to 400 here? No. Why? Why do you think? Array got changed. Array data got changed, but not the list get data got changed. Okay? Yeah. So why? Why do you think? Why do you think the list data, even though we are using this function updated for list, the data is, it is showing it as updated data, but when you print again L1, it is showing the same data without getting updated. The old data only, without modified, without getting modified. But array is showing the modified data. So what's wrong with, is there any, yeah, yes, exactly. That we shall discuss now. So how it is happening so array is responding to it. So the data in array is getting reflected with the change, whatever we have trying to make, but the data in list did not get reflected. They did not reflect, isn't it? It was not reflected. So what's wrong? Is there any wrong? Is there something problem with list or array? So nothing wrong. Both are fine. We have to understand what is that, why it is behaving like that. Okay. Let me show you now. Let me explain you. This is very similar, very very important. See here. So val a1 equal to array of some 10, 10, 20, 30 and 40 and 50, and next val or var, we can use var also, some L1 equal to list of some 45, 55, 65 and 75. Now so what is going to happen with this statement? Internally an object will be created for array, isn't it? An array object will be created internally, and it is going to have the data 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50, and this is being referred by what? A1. Okay. And next with this statement what is going to happen? And internally a list object will be created, and it is going to have 45, 55, 65 and 75, and this is being referred by now P1 or sorry L1. Got it? Fine. So when we say A1 dot update of 2 comma some 700, what is the meaning of it? The element at the index 2, 0, 1, 2, that's 30, has to be replaced with what? 300. That is what I'm trying to do. Okay. So what happens is in memory, right, in the same position, the same object, this 30 will be replaced by 700. 700. Okay. So that is the reason when we print again A1 data now, this 30 will be replaced by 700. We get the list of what? 10, 20, 700, 40 and 50. So that's what we got. That's now we have seen. That is that change got reflected in array. But if you use the same thing on list, L1 dot updated, I'm telling you, we use the function here, not update here, updated of 2 comma some 500. So what is the element at the index 2 here? This is 65, 0, 1, 65. 65 must be replaced with what? 500 that we are expecting. But that won't be done here. That will be done, but not like this. How is this? Okay. So this object will be taken, modification will be done, that is updated of 2 comma 500 will be applied, and it is going to create a new object. What is it? 45, 55, 500 and 75. It is going to create a new object, not the old object. Got my point here? It is not going to create a new object. So L1 is still referring to the old object only. old object. So this, if this is supporting, this doesn't mean that the data is getting reflected here. The data will not be reflected here. Instead, a new object will be created. So this is the first object and this is the second object. It is not about where. I'm telling you, it is not about where. Okay, I will show with where also now. Okay, don't worry. But what's happening here, a new object will not be created in the existing object itself, in the existing location itself. I'm telling you, in the existing location or in the existing object itself, the data gets modified or reflect, the change will be reflected. But in case of list, the data will not be modified here itself. In the object, the data will not be reflected. That object will be as it is, and it is going to create new object. Okay, so you may think that val is going to make that, but here also for array also we are using val, right? For array also we are using val, for list also we are using val. So if you think that object cannot be changed, the reflection cannot be changed, as we are using val here, but still we are using val also for array, right? We are using val for array also. Then why it is happening like this? Just observe here now, right? We are using val for array and we are using val for list. Then how come the list data is not getting reflected but array data is getting reflected? So with this, what can we confirm? This val, the immutable reference, is not going to show any effect on this change of data. So what is that getting changed here is, by nature and by default, array is now. So what is this now? This object, right, is getting created as object in memory, object in memory, even this object. So list is an immutable object. List is an immutable object. What about array? Array is a mutable object. List is an immutable object. List will create an immutable object and the array will create mutable object. This is the reason. So an immutable object, what is an immutable object is? What is an immutable object? So the data will not be reflected, the data change or modify will not be done in the existing object. Instead, it will create a new object. That is the immutable nature of an object. What is a mutable object? The change or the modification will be done in the existing object itself, in the existing location or object itself. That is in place modification. I call it as in place modification is allowed on mutable objects, but in place modification is not allowed on the immutable objects. Got it, guys? Here the difference between mutable object and immutable object. Okay, let me just show you now here. If I write val a1 equal to array of 1 2 3, and if I write var a2 equal to array of some 2 3 4. So what is a1 and what is a2 here? A1 is created as what object, what reference here? It is immutable reference, isn't it? And a2 is mutable reference. Then what about this object? The object created out of this, mutable or immutable? This is mutable. This is going to create internally mutable object. And what about this? This is also going to create mutable object only. That's what I told just now. So this val and var doesn't change the nature of the object. It changes on the nature of the reference. Remember here, it changes only the nature of the reference, but not the nature of the object. That's what I told you. Immutable reference is different from immutable object. So this val and var, they're not going to change the state of the object. They are going to change not the nature. I'm telling you nature or state. They change only the state or nature of the reference or variable here. Remember this point. Most other people get confused with this. So they say that generally people get confused. If you use val, it creates a mutable object. No, that's not true. Remember, they say that if you use val, it creates a mutable object. If you use var, it creates mutable object. That is wrong. That's 100% wrong. No, but there are people think like that is not 100% wrong. Remember, this we already proved right here. Here used val, but how come the data got changed? That is, this val is not going to change the state of the object. Is going to change only the state of the reference, but not the state of the object. Okay, remember this very important point. And similarly, I use val l1 equal to list of some 456, and val var l2 equal to list of one. List is mutable only. Yeah, we'll come to that in the next session. I will try to give clarity on that. But let us understand first why. What is the nature of immutable? I will try to give the clarity on it. And 7 8 9 10. So this is going to create immutable reference. We shall learn one by one. Okay, slowly, no need to hurry. We shall learn one by one very slowly and clearly. And this is going to create mutable reference, and this is going to create immutable object only. This is going to create immutable object. And what about this? This is also going to create immutable object only. I'm telling you by default, all, and not always. You can change mutable or immutable natures. Is it clear, guys? Mutable object, mutable reference, and immutable reference. So we shall discuss about more on this mutable and immutable nature of the objects. How do we create mutable objects? How do we create immutable objects? Is it possible, or shall we have to go with always the default nature of the objects? Is there a possibility of changing the nature of the object? Is it possible? That we shall try to discuss in the next session. Got it, guys? Clear? Any questions in this session? Yeah. Fine. Thank you, guys. Let us meet in the next session. Okay, let's continue. If you have any questions, if you want